Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here, and this is going to be a short video about the Garmin speed sensor and cadence sensor, and these are the second versions from what I understand. And they you can buy them separately still, but might as well get them as a package deal. I think there's a slight discount for getting them both together, and they're about 40 bucks a piece, so about 80 altogether, somewhere in there. And it'll come in a box like this. And then inside you'll have different size straps for attaching the cadence sensor to the crank arm. And then your sensors will be in this black bubble wrap. And then some instructions that you might want to read depending on what you're doing with these things. And I've already opened these before, I just stuck them in here for this video. So that's the cadence sensor, and then this is your speed sensor. And the cadence sensor has one of these rubber bands that usually attaches to the crank arm. And then this just wraps around the hub of your front or rear tire and holds on like that in the center and rotates around this direction. So if you're using a Garmin watch or a Garmin bike computer, it has GPS built in, so you kind of thinking like, oh, I don't need these, or I just need the cadence sensor to get that data for my bike rides. But my plan is, I don't have a bike right now that I can ride outside, and there's a ton of snow that would make it near impossible. So I am using a stationary bike, and that's why I bought these. And I'm using a spin bike, so it does have a wheel that spins around a giant metal disc. And basically what I did for that was I took the sensor out of this rubber housing, and then from there I attached some adhesive Velcro to it, and then the other piece of adhesive Velcro is on the wheel of the spin bike. And I'll talk more about that later. And then since I'm using a public spin bike and I didn't want to put these on the bike and take them off and wear them out from stretching them and have them break, what I did is I attached adhesive Velcro to the crank arm and the cadence sensor as well. So these will definitely work for an indoor bike as long as you have a place to attach them. And like I said, I'll get more into that later. The other reasons you'd get it is if you have a mountain bike and track your rides. If you go through a whole bunch of tree coverage, you might lose your GPS signal. So this will keep track of that even while you've lost your GPS signal. So there's two really good reasons to get that. My only real complaint with this was I had a problem with the cadence sensor when it showed up. And basically what it was is there was I wouldn't call it a design flaw, it's like somebody put it together wrong. And basically you have a battery connector here and then a little tab right up in here for the battery, and you have a watch battery like this. And so the center obviously connects to the negative side here, but then the positive is only long enough to get into this recessed area right here. And you can kind of see this piece of metal right here. And so on mine, it's making contact with that piece of metal. When I bought this and it was first out of the box, it wasn't working, turning on at all. And basically that piece of metal right there didn't exist. So I modified that one rather than returning it, because it would just take too long to return it. So be aware of that. If you get your cadence sensor and it won't turn on and this LED won't blink, open that up and make sure that connection actually has something to connect to complete that circuit. If it doesn't, return it. Or you can modify it like I did mine and add in a little piece of metal. And then On the speed sensor, it has an LED too that should wake up, and it'll be blinking right there through that hole. So it is right down in here. And if you're having trouble turning that on, it might be worth opening, pull the battery out for about 10 seconds, there it goes. That's what it's supposed to do. So just in case you're not able to wake it up, just pull that battery out for about 10 to 20 seconds, and then when you reinsert it, it should flash like that. So real quick, I'll go over what is needed or how to set up this on a stationary bike so that it'll work, because there seems to be a lot of people wondering how you get your stationary bike data to your Garmin Connect. So here's the crank arm for my stationary bike, and like I said, this is a public bike, so I have a piece of adhesive Velcro stuck to the inside of the crank arm there. But if you were using your personal bike, you could just attach the Cadence sensor as instructed using the rubber band supplied by the manufacturer. But then for the speed sensor, I figured there's two good options. One, if you have a disc like the spin bike does, you can put a piece of adhesive Velcro on it, and you can see mine there on the cone portion of this disc. But I'm not the only one using it, and obviously other people have come up with the same idea, and there's a couple other black spots on there that are Velcro as well for other people's sensors. If this wasn't an option, I think you could get away with mounting it using Velcro to the underside of the crank arm right here where this arrow is pointing to, and that should work out too. And then once you have everything mounted, you should start pedaling, and basically you'll want to start your watch app, get the sensors connected, and then start pedaling and compare the distance that you're getting to the distance that the bike's computer is displaying. And then from there, you need to manually adjust your wheel diameter to make your distance covered match the distance being displayed on the bike computer. And I'll show you real quick how to do that in your watch while you're pedaling. Okay, so you have your speed and cadence sensor mounted to your bike. Next thing you want to do is connect your sensors to your watch or your bike computer. On your watch, you'll go to your settings, down to sensors, and then you'll click add new, and then there's speed and cadence there. You click on that and it'll start looking for them, but mine are already connected. They're not turned on, which is why it's searching for them. But yours should, when you connect them, should show up here, and it'll say connected instead of searching. And you need that to happen before you can move on to the next part. So once that's done, you can go to your indoor bike program, start pedaling, and start recording. And down here you'll see speed and distance, which will both be increasing. And if you haven't done any setup to your sensor, it's probably going to be increasing much faster than the bike's computer. And usually I'll ride about a mile according to the bike computer, and then compare it to the distance on here, and then adjust the wheel size. If this number is larger, you need to make your wheel size for your sensor smaller manually, and if this number is smaller than a mile, then you need to increase your wheel size. And you can do that while pedaling. So like I said, I'll get to where it reads a mile on the bike computer and then compare it to what the watch says. And while you're pedaling, you can hold down your start button. It might be a little bit different on your watch, which will drop you into the indoor bike settings. You can go here to your sensor, go to the speed sensor, and wheel size. You want to click on that. It might be set to auto if this is the first time you use the sensor. You want to click on manual and then manually change the wheel size. And like I said, if it's too much distance on here or larger distance on here versus the bike computer, you want to make the wheel size smaller. And if this is a smaller distance than the bike computer, you want to make the wheel size larger. And then you just go back to your biking, and usually I'll look at where the watch is here, or you can restart, like discard that, and then start another one, and basically reset your bike computer too, and then repeat that. And it might take 3 to 5 tries of adjusting the wheel size. I would start with large adjustments, and if your spin bike is similar to mine, you can steal the wheel size I'm using, which is 930 millimeters, and that might be a good starting place depending on where you've placed your sensor. Actually, and just to go over that again, you can do this on the fly while you're pedaling. Just hold down button, go to settings, sensors, speed sensor, wheel size, manual, adjust it, accept, and then back out to your biking, and then pedal some more and compare the numbers you're getting, and then adjust as needed from there. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Please hit the like button, subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. And if you've come to this video kind of checking out a way to get your cadence and speed data from your stationary bike to your Garmin watch, I recommend that you buy these sensors. They're great. Just as I mentioned earlier in the video, pay attention when you first get them, check them out, and make sure there's not a manufacturing defect, and if there is, send it back. Unfortunately, it's a great sensor, but unfortunately the manufacturing process is a little bit lacking on their controls. So like mine, it didn't work when I first got it. But I would definitely buy this. Again, part of it is because I'm not really sure there's any other options for speed sensors that work with Garmin watches. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.